Before this video progress, I have a simple question to ask you. Could this be the end of one Nigeria? A prominent bishop just made a powerful confession. He confessed the truth behind Islamization in Nigeria. There was a young man many years ago who has been warning everybody to be vigilant, to open their eyes, to defend their territory. And what happened to that man? His advice was ignored and he was put behind bars. In my opinion, I think Nnamdi Kanu should be released and compensated. He should be released and compensated heavily, because like a prophecy, he revealed everything to Nigerians about the coming of Islamization. The Nigerian government refused to heed to his warning. They ignored him and ended up locking him up, putting him behind bars. That is why I am urging Nigerian government to look into the warnings of Nnamdi Kanu and the ideas about insecurity in Nigeria. They should listen to his warning about the ideas on how to address the country's security and political challenges, instead of locking him up. So in this video, I am going to analyze what this prophet, this prominent bishop, stated in this video. And also I'm going to play a clip of Nnamdi Kanu's warning so that you will understand the direction that I am heading to. I want everybody watching this video to understand, to comprehend what this video is talking about. That is why I am breaking it down so that you understand that Nnamdi Kanu is a prophet. He saw it coming, and now everybody is talking about it. The Islamization of Nigeria. How did it started? In 2015, 8th of June 2015 precisely, Nnamdi Kanu made a broadcast warning about the invasion of Nigeria. He warned that Islamization is coming to Nigeria, that the Fulanis are planning to expand their territory in Nigeria, that they are planning to Islamize Nigeria. 8th June 2015. 8th June 2015 was the date Nnamdi Kanu made this broadcast. He told everybody in Nigeria to stand up and defend their territory, to stand up and say no to Islamization, that Nigeria is not an Islamic country, that they should not allow Fulani to invade their land and Islamize them. This was the warning he was giving out, but nobody listened to him. Nobody heed to his warning, and now everybody is crying. Everybody is crying. So a major focus in this video is Nnamdi Kanu's 8th June 2015 warning about Islamic terrorism and the possibility of an expanding conflict in Nigeria. Nnamdi Kanu warned about plan to Islamize Nigeria. He warned so deeply about plan to Islamize Nigeria. So before I go deeply into the confession of this prominent bishop, let us take a look at the video of Nnamdi Kanu when he warned about Islamization of Nigeria. Just take a look at the video and I will be back.
As I told you before, anything you hear on Radio Biafra is correct. I told you on this platform that they will come for you. You see, let me tell you one thing that people don't know because you don't know history. I forgive some of you because in your schools in the zoo they don't teach you anything. I want some people to actually go and sit down and study the history of Islam. Islam is the only religion that has never stopped growing. Islam is the only religion that has never stopped expanding through militancy and war. Others have stopped, only Islam. Christianity is based on convincing people, telling them about the message of hope and restoration of Yahweh Yeshua. Of course, immensely corrupted, that we know for sure. But Islam believes in expanding through war, and that war is coming. Now, I must be put on record, and therefore I wanted to record this very broadcast and play it all the time for our people to also understand and listen very carefully. And I will say it tonight. And if you come to me in the future, I'll refer you to the broadcast of the 8th of June 2015. And that I made this very comment I'm about to make now at precisely 10 minutes to 8 p.m. in the evening. If ISIS comes down into the zoo, of course they are part of Boko Haram anyway. If they fall, not if they, because they have forged an alliance already. If they launch any attack with the name of ISIS on the zoo soil, if they come to us to give us weapons, I will decline it. I will allow them to kill all of you before we mount any counter-offensive. Let me tell you one thing that you don't understand. Some of you claim you went to school, but you didn't go to school. Because if you went to school, you will understand how Islam works. Islam is coming for you. They must come for you. It's a MUST, must. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Only you can defend yourselves. This headline here is a confirmation if you need one. Atiku Abubakar said it yesterday. Today is being confirmed that ISIS is coming. Not just Boko Haram, but the real bad people that are coming. They need access to the oil, and they will get it to secure their financial base for their continued expansion within the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. The zoo is seen as pivotal, and Biafra land is where the resources that they're looking for is lying in. They don't trust Buhari anymore. Buhari was their godfather, they no longer trust him. I mean Boko Haram in this instance. Buhari, they thought would give them Sharia immediately. Buhari saying I don't belong to anybody. From that day they intensified their bombing. Some of you cannot reason, you cannot see very well because you are blind. But at least you are lucky. You are listening to Radio Biafra. Very, very lucky indeed. I'm telling you the truth. Or else I can in your blindness. It is that darkness we've come to shed light on that you can see properly. If they enter the zoo, I will not command this army. And I need guns and I have the men. I need guns and I need bullets. That's all we need. And then we win. I have been sounding this warning. I've been telling you, you think we are joking. They are coming. Your mothers will be raped. Your sisters will be married off as slaves. I'm telling you that now. Right as I speak, write it down. Biafra land will be decimated. Unless we equip this army to defend us. If we don't equip our army to defend us, in other words, if we don't march this year, it will be very difficult for us to recover. Forget all this nonsense. All these so-called pro-Biafra groups you're saying, I also brought them out to confuse you. Awasa brought them out. That is why they cannot say what we are saying or do what we're capable of doing. These are Awasa groups, and you are not listening. That's now I want to morning. You are not listening, because the devil has gone into all these idols that you worship. The devil has gone inside you to harden your heart, to blind your eyes that you can no longer see. That day, I will tell you to remember the broadcast of the 8th of June 2015. I will tell you to go back to it. I need guns and I need weapons. If I don't have guns and bullets, the army of Biafra cannot defend your towns and villages. The sooner you get that into your thick skull, the better for everybody. You are black people, you don't reason, I know that for sure. But the sooner you take this very message seriously, the better for everybody. Or else you're finished. ISIS is coming. They will enter the zoo and Chad very, very shortly. Not as Boko Haram, they are coming in as their franchise and as their name dictates. ISIS is coming. If you like, you make haste while the sun is shining, or if you like, you can continue to be dumb and stupid. That is entirely up to you. I won't be there, but you'll be dead anyway. And Radio Biafra will not report it, and nobody will. If you like, you give us guns. If you like, you don't. We are trying to save you, not you saving us. We'll continue.
America is not multicultural. America is Western Europe. The value systems of Western Europe: Judeo-Christian, Greco-Roman, Republican governance. Had America been a multicultural society, they would have space for Sharia. I'm now addressing the US ambassador to try to tell him to stop deceiving people. We are educated, we went to school for a reason. We're enlightened and we have our brain intact. There is no country on this earth that runs on this wishy-washy multiculturalism. It doesn't happen. What you have are established order and value systems upon which various cultures can now coexist. If you go to America, you coexist under the provisions of the United States Constitution. And the US Constitution is a Christian constitution, not Islam. America is not multicultural, but under that bedrock of liberty and egalitarianism, you allow other cultures to come in. But first of all, they must swear allegiance to the, or take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the USA. That is something that the US ambassador never told the Janjaweed that went to visit her. The same way that Nigeria cannot function as a viable entity. Wole Soyinka knows what I'm talking about. I'm even sure somebody who claims he's learned, as Bishop Coker is, understands what I'm talking about. No country on this earth. The value system of the state of Israel is based on Judaic principles. The value system of Russia is entirely theirs, is based on theirs. It's a Russian way of doing things from times of the Tsar. If you go to Saudi Arabia, it is essentially a Sharia Islamic state. You can live there, no problem. You can build your churches if you want. I think they've not to allow churches to be built. But it is never a multicultural society. Japan is not a multicultural society. China is not. They can accommodate you, but that doesn't mean they are multicultural. This is the type of nonsense they feed Africans, and we fall for that very gimmick of multiculturalism. At the end of the day, you end up with a useless contraption like Nigeria. You don't have any value system that anybody anywhere can define. If I talk about the USA, I can talk about hamburger in the USA. We can talk about, what else do they have in the USA? Hamburger, you can talk about, what's it called? What are the traditional dishes? Apple pie and all the rest of it. We can say that these are American dishes. If you go to the UK, you can talk about maybe mashed potato and bangers and mash, which is sausage and mashed potato, as their national meal. That's understandable. But I ask you, if you come to Nigeria, what is the national dish of Nigeria? Does a Fulani Janjaweed eat a egusi, where we come from? Does an Igbo man eat a weed soup? The answer is no. So on what basis is all this so-called multicultural foundation going to be laid upon? On what? We are not one people. We may be black, we may be Africans, but we're not one people. Not even one religion. If Britain cannot stay in an EU that is entirely Christian, He is entirely Christian. Britain left. Nigeria, you don't know if Nigeria is Christian or in fact is Islamic. So for me to accept the multiculturalism being preached by the US ambassador, I have to embrace Islam as my religion. That's what it means. And some of you get taken in by all this rubbish. And I feel sorry for you. Yeah, sometimes when I say this, I'm being very arrogant. If you are educated, you will understand that no nation is multicultural. They allow other cultures to come in. It doesn't mean they're multicultural. They have a viable space where multicultural ideas or identities can thrive. But the foundation has to be monolithic. It has to be one dominant value system and ideology. That's how it is all over the world. Don't let anybody fool you otherwise. That is the same reason why you have this anomaly in a so-called republic. You have royal fathers in a republic because you are trying to shuffle multiculturalism. You're trying to marry the feudal system of the north, the monarchical system of the west, and the republican system in the east, to marry them into one. And what you have is entirely rubbish, and that's why Nigeria can never work. Not now, not tomorrow, not ever. Competing value systems. Nobody wants their own value system to be subsumed under another person's value system. This is something that the US ambassador never told you. But here I am telling you today. Because if you come here, you become educated. If you come here, you become enlightened. If you come here, you stop being a zoo animal, you become a human being. That is why we are the largest and of course the most consistent broadcasting platform insofar as Africa is concerned, right across the world. Millions listen to us because they know we preach the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
So you have heard it from Nnamdi Kanu, how he warned Nigeria about Islamization. So now let's go deeply to the confession of this prominent bishop. So this update is going to focus deeply on statements made by Bishop Wole Oladeyun. Who is Bishop Wole Oladeyun? He is the president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN. He argues that Christians in Nigeria face what he described as an existential threat. That Christians in Nigeria are facing existential threats by Islamic terrorists, by Islamic promoters. He points to attacks and killings in places including Southern Kaduna, places like Plateau State, places like Benue State, and other areas like Zamfara, Niger, even in some southeastern and southern part of Nigeria, and even in some western part of Nigeria, and then claims that religious motivation are behind some of the violence, that there's a plan, a master plan to Islamize Nigeria. This is what Bishop Wole Oladeyun, the president of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, is saying in this video. So one of his major demands is that Nigeria should be removed. Nigeria should be removed from the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC. That if Nigeria is truly not an Islamic country, then what are they doing with Islamic cooperation? Why are they members of Organization of Islamic Cooperation? He argues that Nigeria is constitutionally a secular country, and then questioned why Christian political leaders, particularly lawmakers, have not treated the country's membership with OIC that is Organization of Islamic Cooperation, as a major national issue. So this is the question that Bishop Wole Oladinu is asking directly to the Nigerian federal government. Why has political leaders, especially Christian political leaders, particularly those in the National Assembly, the lawmakers, why have they not treated the country's relationship with the IOC as a major national issue? Now, many political commentators has presented the bishop's comment as a warning that Nigeria is allegedly moving towards Islamization. Many political commentators, political analysts, they have presented the comment from this bishop as a direct warning that Nigeria is allegedly moving towards Islamization. And this is exactly what Nnamdi Kanu has been warning 11 years ago. This is exactly what Nnamdi Kanu has been warning 11 years ago. Now it is coming into actualization. It is coming into realization. Now, prominent bishops, prominent men of God are now calling, shouting that Nigeria cannot be Islamized. Nigeria will not be Islamized. But they never listened 11 years ago.
We are living in the last days. The last days, Paul called it the perilous times. Times where people, because of money, can do anything. Where wickedness will increase. Are you getting what I'm saying now? Where people don't think of anything about fear of God. In 2 Timothy 3 verse 1, it said, this know also, that in the last days, perilous times shall come. It's already here. Where you see they carry children without having conscience. Where they think they can turn Nigeria to Islamic nation, it can never happen. Now hear me as a prophet. It will never happen. All this agenda is to make Nigeria an Islamic nation. Let me tell you today. That's the agenda. It can never happen. Are you telling me that Igbo man will be an Islamist Muslim? Or Sasa will be Muslims? You better, if you try it, you get out. Are you telling me Igbo man now will become a Muslim? You force him to be a Muslim? Or you force a Sasa man to be a Muslim? That is the agenda. Hear me, I'm a man of God. That's the agenda. Don't think it's always kidnapping banditry. It's the agenda. If army want to wipe them off, they wipe them off one day. And they have the power to do it. How can you bring Turkish people to come and... Turkey that was a Christian nation that taught Islam. You bring the army from Turkey to come and protect Nigeria. Thank you. We are not stupid, we know it. But let me hear it. I'm one of those who speak. It can never happen. And not even if after we are gone, it will never. Nigeria will never be an Islamic nation. If they want it, they can take their part and go. But this country will never be run by Islam. As we are living peacefully, they better leave it to. If anybody wants to make it, he can take his own, all those states and go. But to say that we impose Islam on us, that is madness of the highest order. And that is the agenda. But I can tell you, it will never, not in my lifetime, even after my lifetime, in the name of Jesus. It will never. Social media, if you like, carry it, but don't misquote me. Don't misquote. Nigeria will never be an Islamic nation. That's what I said, and don't misquote me. Say it as I say it. Please, everybody worship your God, but don't impose your religion on us. We have never imposed our own on you. Say it as I put it. If you twist what I said, you'll be cursed.
Alright, the truth is, there's an agenda to Islamize Nigeria, and it's no jokes. Slowly, it's creeping on us, and it's no joke. There's a very strong agenda to Islamize Nigeria from some persons, and we are not paying attention to it.
Listen, Nigeria will never become an Islamic state. Never become an Islamic state. Nigeria will 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 never become an Islamic state. Someone pray in the spirit, everybody. Pray in the spirit. Pray in the spirit. Bring down their towers. Bring down their towers. jihadists, the Fulani herdsmen, and all the terrorist groups in Nigeria shall be visited with divine judgment.
ẹ bá wọn jà, ẹ jà wọn lógun. wọ́n kò zúhù kẹ́ mú wọn lẹ́rú. wọ́n zùrúhù kẹ́ tilẹ̀kùn mọ́ wọn mọ́lé. ẹ sédè mọ́ wọn. ẹni wọn gbọ́dọ̀ lọ ọjà, wọn gbọ́dọ̀ lóko, wọn gbọ́dọ̀ lọ ọjà. ẹ tilẹ̀kùn mọ́ wọn, ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ jáde, ẹ gbọ́dọ̀ níyìí ta. ẹ sédè mọ́ wọn. àwa mùsùlùmí lálẹ́tọ̀ọ́ àti ṣe kèfèrí mọ́lé, kì í ṣe kèfèrí ni ó lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ àti ṣe wa mọ́lé. wakihudu lahum kullu marsadin ní tàbá ti bá wọn ẹfìdí wọn gúnlẹ̀ síbẹ̀ gbogbo ẹ̀bá bá wọn ní bòbá tán fa pamọ́ sí ẹ̀dẹ̀ wọn bẹ̀ ẹ̀dẹ̀ wọn bẹ̀ ẹ̀ tilẹ̀kùn mọ́ wọn bẹ̀ ntọ́nà sọ náà kúrò nínú. mo fi sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ mi pé n tó yẹ kẹ́ ṣe tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá ṣe lórí ẹnìkan tẹ́ni ẹnìyẹn yóò ṣe tiẹ̀ yóò ṣe nǹkan ẹ̀ máa fún ìfẹ́ yìí o ohun tó yẹ kẹ́ ṣe fún yàn tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá ṣe òun ó ṣe tiẹ̀ fún yín o ẹni tó yẹ kẹ́ àrẹ́sì ẹ̀ tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá àrẹ́sì ẹ̀ òun àrẹ́sì yín. When a choosing man of God, when someone God has personally washed his head and his feet and say, go and speak to the people, I sent you, speak to the people, they refused to listen to him 11 years ago. Now they are crying, now they are lamenting. Nigeria cannot be an Islamic country. Nigeria will not be an Islamic country when the deed has already been done. Nigerian military have not been able to defeat Boko Haram for the past 15 years. They have not been able to defeat Boko Haram. And now another terrorist group known as Fulani bandits have taken over the country, kidnapping people, showing videos on social media, and yet they cannot be traced. They cannot be tracked. That is to say, the Fulani Islamic cabal have planted these people for the sole motive of Islamizing Nigeria. Now that the bishops, the pastors, they have started seeing this plan come into actualization, they have begun to panic. They are now calling for help. But when a choosing man of God was sending them direct message from God that there is a plan, a calculated plan to Islamize Nigeria, what were they doing? They refused to listen. They said, what trash is this man talking about? What nonsense is this man talking about? But now it is coming into realization. They are not feeling it. In the north, there is no freedom, most especially for the Christian. That is what this bishop is lamenting. That there is no freedom for the Christians in the north. That Islamic law have overshadowed everybody. No freedom. That Nigeria is now heading into Islamic state. That is what this bishop is lamenting in this video. I'm going to play the video for you guys to watch and hear directly from the bishop's mouth. So just take a look at the video before I go further. Take a look at the video.
The church in Nigeria has come under fundamental threat, existential threat, both from illegal people and from the system itself. Now, if you go back in history, you discover that a head of state think it was IBB, dragged Nigeria into OIC, Organization of Islamic Countries. Nigeria is not an Islamic country. Now, the Senate should deal with that. That is fundamental, not a matter of preaching in buses. The Senate should deal with that and pull Nigeria out of OIC. Again, the constitution that we have today was not made by the people of Nigeria. No, it was the military jackboot that was in power at that time that imposed that constitution on us. And it is skewed against the church in favor of a particular religion. In that constitution, Islam is mentioned hundreds of times. Anti-Islam, Sharia and that. And the church is not mentioned once. Christianity is not mentioned once. And Christians in Nigeria are a little over 50% of the population. Now, that is a fundamental matter that the Senate should be dealing with, not a flippant thing about preaching in buses. So, and then again now, we are being attacked by various violent people, ISWAP, Boko Haram, Lakurawa, and all of that, all of which stem from Islam, and they are trying to forcefully make Nigeria an Islamic nation. They are targeting us, killing us in southern Kaduna, killing us in Plateau, killing us in Taraba, killing us in Benue, and they are making incursion into the south from Oyo State, from Kwara, from Oyo State, from Edo, and all of that. Now, this is fundamental. The Senate is the apex of the lawmaking process in Nigeria. They should be dealing with fundamental issues like that. They are not dealing with it. They are now tampering with something that is critical to our faith, stopping us from preaching in buses. When our master told us to go into all the world and preach the gospel everywhere, our fathers of old, the old apostles, they went everywhere and preach the gospel. Now, God told Philip in the book of Acts chapter 8 to join himself to the Ethiopian chariots. He said, join these chariots and preach to that man. And the man was a key man in Ethiopia. Philip obeyed and he preached to that man, and the man got saved. That's how Christianity came to Africa long before it came to Europe. You are not telling us not to do that. The chariot of those days are the buses of today. I, as a person, have been preaching in buses since 1975. Several people have been blessed, their lives changed. Ministers of the gospel produced as a result of preaching in buses.
All right, Bishop.
Yes. So you are not telling us not to do it. We preach in buses.
Right.
So if they want to imprison us, let them come and arrest all of us. We are coming. We will preach in buses.
All right, Bishop.
They cannot stop us.
Yes,
if we realize that obey God. Yeah.
Yes, my apologies, Bishop. You've raised that point over and over. So the first point is you've mentioned the issue of, I think we've had you here on the program where you said you believe there is genocide. The government has pushed back to say there's no genocide. So there has been that back and forth. And then the issue, just a moment, Bishop, please, so that I can answer all of it at the same time. So that's on one hand. The other hand, they're saying that, I think Okpayemi Bamidele, who is the Senate leader, says they did not bring this law. It's not the first time this law has been there. It's been there. So they just changed the itemization, I think, from item 37 to 40 something. So it's been there. A lot of Nigerians, they don't know it's been there. So that's on one hand. I'm talking about some of the pushbacks they've also brought. Now, the rationale behind this, I think they're also talking about this being distracting to the driver and some of the activities of the persons who preach in buses. So when you hear all of these pushbacks, how do you respond to it, Bishop?
Now, that is absolutely second thought. I've been preaching in buses since 1975. Up until now, there is no record of any distraction or any accident or any mishap as a result of preaching in buses. It's a targeted attack against the church. Now, if it's been the statute before, thank you for bringing it out. Let's expunge it from our statute. Some other people of other faith, every Friday, they will block roads all across the country and disrupt traffic. They are not dealing with that. They are not dealing with us on issues that are bringing peace, that are changing lives, that are turning wicked people to become righteous people, that are turning prostitutes to become chaste lady, that are turning robbers into becoming preachers. Things that are changing lives, that are blessing people, that are contributing immensely to the peace and welfare of individuals and the nation. They're not telling us not to do it. It's something that God commanded us to do. So if it's been the statute before, it's time to expunge it from the statute. And it's time to revisit the Constitution. The Constitution favors a particular religion against us, the church. And apart from that, there's current pressure. Now, okay, take for example, the Catholic bishops went to visit Mr. President and they had discussion. And the man, Cardinal Onaikan, told them frank truth that Nigeria is bleeding. Are we not bleeding? Are we not bleeding in Benue? Are we not bleeding in Kaduna, Southern Kaduna? Are we not bleeding in Goza, in Borno State? Are we not bleeding in Taraba State? Are we not bleeding in Kwara? Are we not bleeding in Oyo State? So should anybody attack a Catholic bishop for saying that? That is obvious truth. And then he said Nigeria needs economic pressure on them to be relieved. Is that not the truth? Now you are denigrating them, you are washing them down. That is unbecoming of a government that cares for the people. This appears like a government that is oppressing the church, and their pushback is not sufficient. They should expunge it from the statute. It's our fundamental right, and we are obeying the master. If you want to behead us for preaching the gospel, we are ready. If you want to imprison us for preaching the gospel, we are ready. If you want to make all the stadiums in Nigeria to become prisons, we are ready. We will rather obey God than man. That is fundamental to our faith, and we're not going to surrender it. Not at all. Our fathers of old in the scripture, they were persecuted for it, they were in prison, they were killed, they were stoned. They didn't back down. No, and we will not back down. We will preach the gospel everywhere. Our Master, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ commanded us. That's the only command he gave to the church. Yeah. And you are not saying we shouldn't preach the gospel. Expunge it from the statute.
All right.
And go beyond expunging it from the statute.
Yeah. All right. That is, a very important point that people have to go and think about. Now, this is the particular preaching that made the Channels Television to invite him for an interview. Listen to what he said.
Church, they were being persecuted. They were told not to preach again. Just like the Senate of Nigeria, Federal Republic, and they are telling them not to preach in bus. Make all the stadium in Nigeria to become a prison. If you want to enforce that law, we are coming. But we break that law. Our master told us to go into the world and preach the gospel to every creature. You sit somewhere there and you're saying we shouldn't preach in buses. We will preach in buses. We will preach everywhere because you are evil, making evil decrease. Evil. We will rather obey God than man. That's what our fathers told them in those days. You better tell them. No Pentecostal must listen to that. And the national president, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, I lead over 65 million people. Everybody go into every taxi, go into every bus and preach. Let them arrest us. Let them turn National Stadium Lagos into prison. I will come there. Let them turn National Stadium Abuja into prison. I'll come there. Let them build more prison. They will be the one that will go there and they will rot there. And God will judge them. You don't go after killers. You don't go after those that are beheading. You don't go after rapists. You don't go after kidnappers. You don't go after bandits who are unlawfully carrying arms. You are not going after them. You are going after us who are preaching the gospel of peace that have changed the lives of people. We won't listen to you. You are not God.
So the bishop is now warning that if something is not done, a lot of calamity will happen in Nigeria. He connects this concern to terrorism, attacks on Christians, and broader religious tension, with the bishop arguing that the government and the National Assembly should address what he considers fundamental religious and constitutional question. They should answer this question. What are they doing? They should answer this question. What are they doing when the country is about to be Islamized? The bishop argues that Nigeria's current constitution was imposed during military rule, that it was not voted in. It was imposed by the military. That the Nigerian current constitution was imposed by the military. That it was imposed during the military rule, and in his view contains provisions that favors Islam over Christianity. He specifically claims that Islam, Sharia law, and related concepts receive more explicit constitutional attention than Christianity, despite his assertion that Christians constitute more than half of Nigeria's population, that most of the laws in the constitution favors Islam, when Christian has more population in the country, but the laws in the constitution favors Islam. Another central issue is a law or regulations that is restricting religious preaching in commercial buses. The bishop also talks about laws in some parts of the country that is restricting religious preaching in commercial buses. Laws that is stopping preachers, men of God, from preaching in public transports. The bishop strongly rejects the restriction, saying he has personally preached in buses since 1975 without causing accident or significant disruption. That since 1975 he has been preaching in buses, in public transport, without causing any accident. So why are they banning it now? Why are they banning men of God from preaching in public transport? He maintains that preaching in public transport is part of the Christian mission and should not be prohibited. That it is the part of evangelism, it is the part of winning souls for Christ, and that the government has no right to abolish it. They have no right to ban it. That it is the right of Christians to preach wherever they are. That is what this bishop is lamenting about. He declares that Christians will continue to preach despite the restriction. The bishop beat his chest and declared that Christians will continue preaching despite restriction, and that they are prepared to face arrest and imprisonment. That is what the bishop is saying in this video. He frames the issue as one of religious freedom and obedience to Christian teaching, arguing that believers should obey God first rather than what he considers unjust government directives, that believers should do what? Obey God first before obeying government. That is what the bishop is saying in this video, that God comes first before government. So they are not going to disrespect God to please government. That is what the bishop is saying in this video. That is what he's saying in this video. And then point towards what he calls a complete and total Islamization of Nigeria. That if they continue like this, then they are heading towards Islamization of Nigeria. The bishop now questioned why authorities in Nigeria would focus their energy, their resources on regulating Christian preaching. Why would they focus all their mind, all their energy, all their resources on regulating Christian preaching? Why, in his view, they are failing to adequately confront killers, kidnappers, bandits, and other violent criminals perpetrating evil in the country? Why won't the government focus their energy, their resources on these killers, on these kidnappers, on these bandits, on these criminals causing havoc in the country? That is what the bishop is saying in this video. He also references comments by some Catholic bishops about Nigeria bleeding, arguing that religious leaders should be able to criticize government handling of insecurity without being attacked. That religious leaders should be able to criticize government handling of insecurity without being attacked, without being molested, without being discredited. That is what the bishop is saying in this video. So I want to ask you, what do you think concerning this video? What is your thought? What are your opinion concerning this video? Your thoughts are highly needed in the comment section, respectfully. If you love this video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more insightful analysis just like this one. I will be here all the time to update you on the latest development happening in Nigeria, in Biafra, in Africa. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, turn on your bell notification icon to be the first to be notified whenever I drop new updates. And I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.